The nonsense surrounding the Northern Ireland Johnson Protocol dispute is slowly becoming a never-ending story. Today, there will be the next chapter. But before I go back to the current developments, I would like to clarify a few things here that are also, let's say, regularly misrepresented by Frost. Article 16 of the Northern Ireland Protocol can only be triggered if unforeseen problems arise from the implementation of the protocol. Nothing that has happened since the UK left the EU Internal Market and Customs Union had not been foreseen. Well, Phil's, Max's, and my videos from the last few years are enough proof for that. And as far as the sayings of some Brexiteers that the EU has already activated Article 16 in the discussion about vaccines, there's only one answer. That is a lie. It has been thought through by individuals in Brussels, but that was quickly discarded. It would not have been allowed anyway. But again, Article 16 was never triggered by the EU, and that will not change even with a constant repetition of this fake news by Tories and other Brexiteers. But okay, let's talk about the next chapter of the never-ending story. Again, the EU presents a proposal to improve the messy situation on the border with Northern Ireland. And again, this is not met with much approval in London. Sharp criticism of the blockade attitude is now coming from the Irish Foreign Minister. Unlike in London, the supermarket shelves in Northern Ireland are well stocked, thanks to a special Brexit rule. Trade is running, but Boris Johnson wants to change that now. The dispute between Great Britain and the EU is escalating again, at least if you believe the rhetoric between British Brexit Minister David Frost and Ireland's Foreign Minister David Coveney. They argue about the Northern Ireland Protocol, which is supposed to keep the peace between the EU member Ireland and the North. But the government of Prime Minister Boris Johnson, for them it doesn't fit. According to the protocol, Northern Ireland is treated as if it was part of the EU customs union and, in terms of trade in goods, part of the EU internal market. But Frost has already threatened several times that Great Britain is on the verge of suspending at least parts of the protocol with Article 16 if the EU is not ready to renegotiate it. Well, I said enough in the beginning of the video about that. Ireland's Coveney, on the other hand, warns on Twitter. Does Britain want to come to an agreement or risk another breakdown of relations, he asks. Every time the EU comes up with proposals, they are rejected before they are even published, Coveney criticized. The Irishman is referring to a package of changes with which the EU wants to facilitate trade between the UK and the Northern Irish region. Maroš Šefčovič, Vice President of the EU Commission and Commissioner for Interinstitutional Relations, is responsible for the talks on the part of the EU. The package of proposals is presented sometime today by the EU. As the Johnson government's Brexit negotiator, David Frost himself negotiated the 2019 protocol that he's fighting today. The special arrangement was agreed in order not to provoke violence on an inner Irish border between Ireland and the North, because the North will remain in trade like a kind of EU member state even after Brexit. Well, the European Court of Justice has the say with regard to all regulations in the trade in goods that Northern Ireland must comply with regard to the EU, because they have the say about the withdrawal agreement. In addition, there is now a customs and regulatory border with appropriate checks in the Irish Sea between the North and Great Britain. The consequence is that trade between Great Britain and the North suffers, while business between the North and Ireland is, well, you could really say flourishing. Politically, the Northern Irish, well, I'll leave it out. The Unionists, that means the supporters of the United Kingdom, complain that their constitutional unity with Great Britain would be broken by the protocol, and this contradicts the Good Friday Peace Agreement of 1998. It's nonsense, because only about goods with the current regulation. The recently presented EU aid package is a response to the technical as well as political demands published by the British government on July 21st. Technically, Great Britain demands that in trade from Great Britain to Northern Ireland, only those goods are checked that can be proven to be exported to the Republic of Ireland. Goods that remained in Northern Ireland should be able to circulate freely and not just have to meet EU standards. The dispute is also about the so-called sausage war we often heard about. The EU normally does not import chilled meat. Northern Irish supermarkets should be able to be supplied with chilled sausages from Great Britain. There are also difficulties with the delivery of medicine, which should actually be approved by the EU. There is also dissatisfaction with the transport of cattle and meat and the corresponding health and hygienic checks there. Politically, Frost insists that the European Court of Justice should no longer have a role in matters of Northern Irish regulations. He claims that the protocol is not working and the major parts of it need to be renegotiated. They haven't even set up the stuff to make it work. They say the EU avoids the term negotiation because the treaty has been ratified and only technical solutions can be discussed in the implementation of the treaty. But there is a problem. Regardless of the technical difficulties in trade, the British government is primarily concerned with appeasing the resentments within the Unionists. Johnson had promised them that there would be no border in the Irish Sea. That means no separation of the North from Great Britain, even if only in trade. As soon as the Northern Ireland Protocol was signed, however, the Unionists realized that the opposite was the case. However, something else annoys the British. Since Northern Ireland, unlike Great Britain, now has no border with the Irish Republic and thus with the EU, Northern Ireland is currently not suffering from the queues at the petrol stations, the acute shortage of EU workers in Great Britain, the supply problems and the often empty shelves in British supermarkets. The British can therefore see what effect Brexit is having on them. And the reason is, Northern Ireland is supplied by the Irish Republic. According to the Central Statistics Office of Ireland, exports from Ireland to the north rose 45% in the first 7 months of the year compared to 2020, while exports to the UK only rose by 26%. Ireland's imports from Northern Ireland are up 60%, but imports from the UK have fallen 32% because of the trade barrier. Speaking at a policy exchange event in early October, Frost said, "We are seeing that supply chains are now shifting very quickly to Ireland. Trade between Ireland and Northern Ireland has grown significantly. The market is reacting quickly. Also, transport from Northern Ireland is via the UK towards the EU has collapsed." And then Frost emphasized, "That is the reason why we can no longer wait." Data on trade between Great Britain and Northern Ireland are only published annually and only with a significant time lag. According to reports that have become known so far, the EU is now primarily offering technical relief, but they go further than previously expected, reports the Irish journalist Tony Connelly from EU discussion groups. So there should be relief with the health and hygienic controls. There may also be a way UK supermarkets can be allowed to deliver chilled sausages. As soon as the UK provides the EU with detailed data on trade between Great Britain and Northern Ireland, a trusted trader regime is to be introduced, which would spare regular suppliers the daily good checks. Large supermarket chains have software that shows across the entire supply chain where products are produced, processed, and in what condition they have been stored and delivered. This complies with the EU requirements for certificates of origin and the system that the EU operates to prevent food scandals. It is questionable whether this information is sufficient for the EU. After all, the Union has seen dangerous food imports such as carcinogenic colored chili powder from India that contaminated hundreds of ready-to-eat meals in the UK in the 1990s. In such cases, the EU can quickly determine where the food comes from and ensures that these products do not spread within the EU. However, Great Britain is no longer participating in the system. The EU will not respond to Frost's request that the European Court of Justice could give up its role in Northern Ireland. They expect talks on technical solutions to continue until the end of the year, despite any threats from the UK. Prime Minister Boris Johnson is responsible for the chaos, but he, his supporters and voters will never admit that the cause of the grievances on the island is Brexit, which it undoubtedly is. Leaving the EU was a mistake, and the even bigger one was not to have permanently solved the Northern Ireland problem. The fact that the British are now shaking the so-called Northern Ireland Johnson Protocol can conjure up a serious crisis with the EU. Nevertheless, the EU must remain tough on the matter and fight this conflict out with London. Johnson and his Brexiteers wanted out of the EU at all costs, hastily. The result was the construct that was chosen for the relationship between the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland, especially in the area of trade relations, which is not very resilient. It only works if all parties want it to be amicable. Johnson and his government no longer want this. They want to terminate the protocol that they themselves signed, but you can't terminate it without terminating the withdrawal agreement. The region of Northern Ireland is currently still subject to EU regulations on many points. This is, admittedly, a nuisance for intra-British trade, but it ensures that no new border has emerged between Ireland and the north, and thus no new source of conflict. If Johnson and his negotiators now prevail, there will be this limit again, with people and goods checks. It will separate the Irish and Northern Irish again. It can become the seed of a new Northern Ireland conflict. Boris Johnson clearly has the intention of building a wall within Ireland. He and his members of the government should know exactly how much suffering the border with Northern Ireland has brought on the people on the whole island of Ireland. Brussels must prevent Johnson's plan. The risk of a trade war threatening London is less than a resurgence of the Northern Ireland conflict. And, well, even if that kills all trade with the UK, we cannot allow this conflict to come up again. I'll see you in my next video. Bis gleich.